Bob, you ready? All right. Hello, everyone. I'd like to call a public service meeting to order, please. We have present myself, Fusco, and Hoke. We are missing Mosley Samples and Keith, and we did have a meeting last week. Can I get approval of those minutes, please? All in favor? Aye. All right, we have several pieces in front of us today. Our first one, ordinance determining to proceed with and levying special assessments for the improvement of certain streets in the city between certain termini by providing street cleaning services and street lighting, approving the report of the Assessment Equalization Board, and declaring an emergency. We have with us our Deputy Public Service Director, Chris Letto.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. This is our annual special assessment legislation. We have no increases from last year. It's the same cost as last year.
All right. Any questions, committee members? Council members in chambers? Nope. What's your pleasure?
Could we have this passed this evening? Suspension of the rules, please.
Okay. We have that motion in second. All in favor? Aye. All right, we'll suspend the rules on that piece. Next piece, ordinance levying special assessments and determining to proceed with the improvement of various off-street parking facilities in the Kenmore Business District and the Canton Road Business District by sealing, resurfacing, and repairing, painting, parking space stripes, sweeping, removing snow, cleaning sewer openings, providing lawn, turf, shrub, and tree maintenance, litter, and other general cleanup, and otherwise improving and maintaining the same, and all when and where necessary, accepting the report of the Assessment Equalization Board and declaring an emergency. Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. This again is our annual special assessment for the off-street parking. There's been no increase, and it's the same cost as last year. And if I could ask for suspension of the rules.
All right. Hold on. Any questions, committee members, council members? All right. All in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you. Moving on. Ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service to enter into an agreement and or legislation with the Ohio Director of Transportation for resurfacing certain streets and for certain bridge improvements and declare an emergency.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. This legislation and the next two after this were all passed on June 18th. In the legislation, it stated that the state would bear 100% of the cost of these improvements. Well, in the UCRs back in June, we did have the correct amounts in there, which we have budgeted. It's 80-20, 80 for ODOT and 20 for the city's cost. But since the legislation stated that, ODOT has asked us to pass this as a new piece, as an amendment piece to what we had before on June 18th.
All right, thank you. Committee members, any questions, comments? Council members, anything? Oh, we do have one question. Councilwoman Linda Mobian, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Are you saying that the June 18th legislation was incorrect based on ODOT's information? Or?
Well, what it was it should have stated that it was 80-20. And then if you looked at the UCR back there, it did show what our costs would be. Just in the form of the legislation, it did not say that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right. With that, your pleasure, suspension of the rules?
Please.
Okay. Can I have a motion to suspend the rules, please? All in favor? Aye. All right. Anybody opposed? Nope. Okay. Next one, ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service to enter an agreement and or legislation with the Ohio Department of Transportation for certain improvements on US 224 and declare an emergency. Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. This is the same as the last one. When we passed it on June 18th, it didn't say the 80-20 in the legislation, but the UCR was correct, and the money is accounted for in the budget.
All right. All right. Any questions from committee members, council members, and chambers? All right, what's your pleasure? Suspension of the rules?
Please.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Nope. All right, moving on. Ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service to enter into an agreement and/or legislation with the Ohio Director of Transportation for certain improvements on State Routes 18 and 261 and declaring an emergency. Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. This is the same as the last two as far as the 80-20 split. And this is just to correct that piece of legislation.
Split. Oh, I gotta ask for questions. Any questions? Any council members, any questions, comments? All right, go ahead, Jeff. Second. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, well, it looks like you two didn't have to weigh in, so I appreciate that. With that, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks.